right. Great to be here. People still trickling in. It's fun to be at a conference where there's a lot of social media people. I spent my 12 years prior to Scrunch building a company called Hearsay Social that became Hearsay Systems. So if you're in the financial services space, I've seen some familiar faces. But it's great to be here talking about the new wave of how the customer journey is shifting. I want to start with a quick raise of hands, so pay attention to me for at least 30 seconds so I get some value out of this. The question is, and you're going to raise your hand for one of these three categories. I want to understand for people in the room, does your search experience tend to start in Google organic traditional search? Like you ask a question, you get the links, you go to the website. Is that your current personal buyer journey? Or is it that you've started to use one of these AI platforms? Either GPT, Perplexity, even the Google AI overviews. Do you find that your behaviors change to use one of those platforms? Or is your dominant search mode social? Do you go to TikTok and kind of search there? So you got three options: traditional Google search, the new AI search capabilities, or social search. Let's start. Who's still starting in Google organic, kind of going and clicking on websites? Hands up in the room. Cool, good data for everybody. Look around. Next. All right, who's going to ChatGPT, Perplexity, or AI overviews from Google? Okay, close to similar. Who starts in social? One or two people. These are the youngest people in the crowd. Cool. Good to know. I started the company because my personal behavior changed. About 2 years ago, I realized my day wasn't starting at google.com. I was going to ChatGPT, I was asking it a question, and I was getting an answer to my question. And I paused and thought about what that meant for the customer journey, what that meant for marketing technology. And my observation was that without thinking about it, I had outsourced browsing to AI. I was no longer browsing the internet. This was before ChatGPT had web search. This was when it warned you, hey, this data is a year out of date. And I was like, good enough. I don't want to go click around the internet. And I knew that when they started doing live web retrieval, everything about search is going to change. You're hearing a lot of new acronyms, AIO, AEO, GEO. Honestly, as a vendor in the category, my hope is they all go away, and we just call it search. I think when we search, we want an answer. Now, what that means is that if I've outsourced browsing, is I'm no longer visiting websites. That's a really big shift to how we market and sell to our buyers. If I ask GPT a question, and I get an answer back, and I ask another question, and I get an answer back, GPT is visiting websites to get the answer. And so what I want you to think about for yourself personally as a customer journey, and then for your brands, is who is your website for? We spent decades building websites for Google, building websites for humans. I believe we're moving rapidly towards a world where the web is for AI consumption. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. These AI agents know who we are. We share information with them. It's looking for personalized information, and they're pretty good at synthesizing information. So that's the theme I want to talk about. Probably going to have 10 minutes at the end for Q&A, so would love to kind of get any questions out in the audience when we get there. We're living in this new era of discovery. When the web first came out in the early or in the late 90s, it was playful. We built websites for each other, GeoCities, MySpace. We put personal information on them. It was pretty playful and simple. Move to the 2000s, we've built a web entirely for Google. When you talk to a smart CMO, they're like, my website's content is for the Google bot. That's who I am writing for. I'm not even writing for humans. I'm literally writing for Google to rank my pages so that I can show up. Now we're into a world in the 2024s, whatever years we're in, where we're writing for large language models. And they think and process differently. They're actually closer to the way we work as humans. They're looking at the intent of a question, and they're going out and they're doing a long tail search to try to find the content that matches. The question is, are they finding your brand? That's the shift that we're starting to deal with overall in this space. Now, this is my favorite way to illustrate it, deal with the dual seizure slide here. But on the far left-hand or the far right-hand side for me, left-hand side for you, is me Googling for a sourdough pizza recipe. If anybody's Googled for a recipe on the internet in the last decade, you end up on a website where you often cannot find the ingredients. You end up on a website where you find some mom's life story, 5 ads, 3 email captures. The word pizza is on the website 70 times. Why? It wasn't written for humans. We're worried about the internet getting worse. We've made the internet pretty convoluted based on the incentives that are in front of us as marketers. On the right-hand side of the slide, if you can block your vision, is asking the same question in ChatGPT. I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief. My belief is that whether it's a B2B buyer or a B2C buyer, we move to simplicity. That's why Amazon won shopping. It's just way too easy. It's too delightful to shop with convenience. It's too delightful to do research, top-of-funnel discovery via AI, and we are in inning number 1 of this shift. And so I think this is the shift. Who are we writing for? We weren't writing for humans for the last 20 years. I really hope not, because if you've ever read the entire website, you're like, that wasn't written for me. This was the ingredient. Now, the ingredient might be wrong. This might be a horribly hallucinated recipe, but I'm going to give it a shot, right? I don't have to waste an hour reading the content on the page. Now, what this means is you're going to see a lot of people fear-mongering, like SEO is dead, everything's over. SEO is evolving, but the customer journey has permanently changed. Why? I'm not visiting websites. I believe word of mouth is getting disrupted. I used to ask my friend for the recipe. I used to ask my friend for the car recommendation. Now I know GPT has a deep memory of who I am, what I like, my status, where I live, and it's referring content based on that knowledge. If websites are getting disrupted and word of mouth is getting disrupted, I believe the customer journey is permanently changing, and it's an exciting time to be a marketer to rethink what that shift is. That's what we did when social came out, right? We said, look, it's not just me talking about the brand, it's every one of my consumers, it's every one of my employees. They're all now representing the brand. A lot of our largest customers are realizing my brand is no longer what I say it is. My brand is what ChatGPT, Google AI Overviews, Perplexity say it is. That is the truth. And they don't just go to your website to consume information, they're going to the open web, and we're going to talk about how that works. Now, this is starting to pop up into the popular mindset here, right? This is a chart that hopefully not too many of you are dealing with, but this is an organic search traffic chart for a large public company that's falling. Now, this could be the Google algorithm. This could be the fact that, for a little stat, more than 50% of searches in North America are now powered by AI search. This isn't just people using GPT and Perplexity. Google is disrupting itself. My favorite kind of customer interviews, the panel studies we do, are people saying, I've never used ChatGPT, I don't use AI search, but I love that Google just answers the question now. You're reading an AI overview powered by Gemini that's doing the exact same thing GPT is. You're not visiting a website in the process. And so I think as marketers, we also need to rethink what metrics actually matter. If we've been paying ourselves on unique visitors to website and we're just throwing junk visitors at our website, that's not lifting the bottom line of the company. We want to measure sales, retention, conversion. And visitors from AI search convert 2 to 5x higher than visitors from traditional organic search. If we pause even for a second to think about why, it's because I did all of my research on the GPT platform. I kept asking questions. By the time I'm visiting your website, I know what I want. I want to talk to the rep. I want to book a meeting. I want to buy the product because I did all of the research in GPT, Perplexity, or Google. And so I think this fall in organic traffic is a nice headline. You're seeing it pop up, but the story is more important. What's important is that the way consumers access information about your brand, B2B or B2C, is massively shifting, and we need to rethink what that customer journey looks like. There's a lot of black box activity on AI search. If you're on LinkedIn, you're probably sick of it. Like, here's the way to trick the models and show up number 1. I had 1 million new visitors from AI search. I encourage you to track what you can concretely track. Don't let a vendor like me make it up for you. Go to your weblogs and start with understanding how frequently are AI agents visiting your website. What's eye-opening for me is we get more AI agent visitors to Scrunch.com than we get to human visitors to Scrunch.com. Now, we're a new company, that makes sense. We're in the AI category, so people are using these platforms to research us, but we have more unique daily visitors from GPT, Perplexity, Meta, Anthropic crawling our site on behalf of a human than humans coming to our website. And that makes sense. For every human asking a question, what is ChatGPT doing is they're sending the on-demand web search agent to the website. If I go, hey, tell me about the pricing model for Scrunch AI. In your weblogs, you're going to see the ChatGPT on-demand web search agent visit your pricing page. And then maybe it visits the About page. and the product page. That is the new buyer journey. And you can track this if you dig through your web logs to make sense of it. You can probably guess we track it in our product dynamically for you. What pages are getting visited most frequently? What agents are visiting? Give me a real-time feed of what this new customer journey looks like. And a little bit of kind of knowledge behind the scenes, there's 3 forms of these AI agents today. The first is on the top, the model trainer. Agents that arrive at websites just to scrape information to update the future version of their large language models. Hey, GPT-5 is out. Hey, the new Claude is out. Well, it trained on new language. Large language models need language, and you can see when these model trainers hit your website. The second type of agent is the on-demand web search agent. This is an agent that is answering a question in real time. Somebody asks a question about one of your brands, the model goes out, visits your site, a competitive site, a third-party site. It's the on-demand web search agent. And the third, which I actually don't have labeled on this slide, is the indexing agent. So SEO still matters because these agents need an index of the web to decide what websites to look at. And if historically they've used Google, Bing, and Brave for that, each one of these new LLMs is creating their own index of the web to reduce their reliance on Google, Bing, and Brave. And so you'll see those 3 different agents in your web logs, and there's gonna be a lot more. There's gonna be custom agents that arrive and can do tasks, but today these are the dominant 3 agents that are landing on pages. Now, what are they doing on the back end when they create an answer? So I'm sure you've seen this screen. This is literally a ChatGPT screenshot. When I ask for a question, looking for the best drive-through coffee shop, it's helpful to know what's happening behind the scenes. Now, there's a model that has a set of data that's going to create kind of the base of that answer. It is then doing live retrieval over the top. The chatbot is scanning relevant web sources. It's like, okay, Chris is living in Park City, Utah. He's looking for a drive-through coffee spot. What exists? Is there a Starbucks? Is there a local spot? It's going out and trying to find the information of what to source. It's then saying, okay, these are the websites that we believe are relevant. Now, this can often cause a surprise. ChatGPT asking this question is citing the Phoenix New Times. It's citing Copper Star Coffee, right? You can see the brands that are listed here as the top drive-through coffee spots in Phoenix. Why are these listed? The model decided that those websites are the most relevant ones to answer the question. Now, modeling and monitoring this at scale is what we start with as a company. We need you to know if your brand is showing up in AI search, why is it showing up, what's impacting it, and how do we think about addressing that as we move forward. But this gives you a little bit of behind the scenes. It's not crazy rocket science. These models are the most impressive technology maybe in the world, but in the end, they've got their trained-in base of knowledge, they're looking at the web, they're combining those sources, and they're linking out. Now, if I click on one of these links as a human, you're gonna know the referral came from ChatGPT. Track that in Google Analytics. If you're not doing that today, turn that on. UTM code, this came from GPT, this came from Gemini, this came from Meta. You can actually track that in your Google Analytics platform in the future, or today. So, in a world that runs on AI, customers will never visit your website. That's my belief that I'm building the company around. Your website is going to be a dynamic repository of content for agents to access. That's the world we're heading towards. I ask a question on ChatGPT, it goes to your website. Right now, I can almost guarantee you, for all of you in the room, it is battling your website. It's got JavaScript and multimedia and videos and podcast links. It's got visuals for humans, and the AI agent is trying to scrape the language off the website to answer the question. That's the shift we need to think about. Who is the website for? Because in the future, I believe your website is not for humans, it's for AI agents retrieving your expertise so that you can engage later in the funnel and convert your customer. That's where the path is of the future. So ChatGPT's first source when someone's asking about your brand should be your website. We just grabbed a random, we stuck with the coffee example. When I'm asking a question about your brand, it's gonna look at your website, it's gonna look at competitive websites, it's gonna look at third-party websites, and it's gonna round out an answer to the question back in the GPT, your Perplexity, or AI overview interface. Now, if it's not effectively able to access your content, it's gonna prioritize other sources. What do large language models want? The secret's in the name. Large language models want language. When they land on a website with a bunch of multimedia and a bunch of JavaScript and toggles for pricing, they're trying to figure out the pricing, but maybe they're gonna default to Reddit because it was easier to get an answer there. So we need to rethink who the web is for. Oftentimes, And I even spoke to some of you in the room, I won't call you out, but you're like, my corporate IT team is blocking the agents from visiting our website. And it's still happening. Many brands that I talk to, we work with well over 500 global brands. Some of them, the starting point is someone on the IT team, sometimes at a C-level, said, AI is stealing our content, and we're gonna block it. Now, if you're a publisher, my heart goes out to you. It's a challenging environment to figure out how you get paid for your content. But if you have a product or service to sell on the internet, you're missing out on the highest growth new distribution channel, which is currently free. Make sure the model can access your content and make sure that it is optimized for retrieval by the model. So the first step is make sure it's unblocked, and the second step is to start to think about what the AI agent is finding when they access it. Again, your website doesn't need to go away, but I would start planning for a world where 90% of the human traffic to your website goes away. It goes away in favor of an AI agent trying to retrieve and work on behalf of a human. And maybe we don't like this, but again, from the hands in the room, we're choosing it. When I started the company, one of my first calls was to the CMO of a top 5 property and casualty insurance company. And this person was like, I'm only using Perplexity. This was like a year and a half ago. And they were just like, I love it. It answers the questions. And I was like, how is it impacting your brand? And like, I hadn't even thought about that yet. I was thinking about me. I love it. I'm using it for all of my search. And so we live sat there and we searched for insurance agents in Los Angeles on GPT, on Perplexity, on Google AI Overviews, on Gemini. And we got different answers on all platforms. That's the shift. You could ask a question on Google, the links would be different from the Gemini answer. And the moment was like, wait a second. If this is how people are going to consume information in the future, we probably need to rethink our on-site content strategy and our off-site content strategy. What content is having an impact and how do we think about addressing it? So super practically, if you don't want to work with a company like ours, which we obviously would love you to come by our booth, get a demo, get a report on how your company is showing up in AI search, but there are very tangible things you can do to get started. And I would say just go get started. Check your weblogs. Go talk to somebody on your IT team and say, hey, Scrunch has a free resource on their website, a guide to AI agents. Use that guide to label the agents in your weblogs and see how frequently these things are visiting your website. A lot of your maybe C-level team is like, this isn't happening yet. It's not happening at a transformational level. These are very targeted visitors that are highly converting and they're worth paying attention to. So just go get the data, irrefutably, how many of them are visiting. The second is conduct a site audit. Try to understand, and you can do this manually. The data will get bad, but go on ChatGPT, go on Gemini, ask a bunch of questions about your company, your competitors, your category, and see what websites are showing up. Is it yours? Is it your competitor? Is it your third party? Now know that if you do that for a period of time, the answers back are going to end up very biased. That's why most enterprises work with a company like ours to do that at scale, monitor hundreds of thousands of prompts and themes. If you ask ChatGPT, let's pretend we're the coffee company, who makes the best espresso shot? And I work for large retail coffee shop. If I ask that question enough times, it'll eventually cave in and say, Chris, your company, in parentheses, is the best coffee company. Like, these things are designed to please us. So like, if you're only asking from your logged in GPT experience, know that over time you're getting biased results. That's why we monitor at scale. We monitor different personas. We monitor different geos, different languages. You define the questions. You define the competitors, but we help you monitor in an unbiased way. So the second is conduct that content audit to deeply understand what's happening. The third is to completely rethink your KPIs. And social is a huge part of this. Again, to connect back to the social audience. Maybe it's Yelp pages or Facebook pages or LinkedIn profiles or YouTube pages that are driving the most impact on AI search. You should be able to get visibility for these types of questions about my category that are non-branded. What content is being used to influence how AI models represent me in the category? So these are things you can concretely track. I like to say that when you're monitoring in the AI search world, you can know whether the agents are visiting your site, and then you've got kind of a black box. You need a platform or you need to do it manually. Am I showing up? Is my content showing up? What's the sentiment towards my brand? Where am I showing up in the results? Are my competitors showing up? There's like 5 things you can track there with a platform like ours or manually yourself. And then on the other end, how many referral visitors are you getting from AI search? So you can track that in your Google Analytics or your Adobe. Okay, GPT is referring this many visitors to my site. Then you have conversion tracking. You know they came from GPT. What was their journey on your website once they land? There's a lot you can track in this emerging category. And when you can do all of it in our platform, there's quite a bit you could do outside of the platform, and I'd encourage you to start there. Very briefly, last 2 slides, and we've got about 10 minutes of questions or an early start to lunch. We're seeing really significant results from companies that take these tactics on and build teams around the efforts. As it was mentioned, we work with over 500 global brands, from Dell and Lenovo to Skims to Clerk and RunPod and the PGA, so the largest enterprises in the world, down to new startups that are trying to figure out how they get discovered in an AI search world. We work with a lot of agencies, but Fortune kind of 1,000 is our core focus area. A couple things that we've seen is as folks start to rethink their content distribution strategy for an AI-based consumer, I want to understand how AI represents my brand. We've seen a massive increase in AI referral traffic. The most interesting study we've seen is companies that take the insights out of our platform and then generate new content based on gaps. So hey, we're not showing up on these topics and themes we need to be present for. Let's get our content team, our PR team, to generate content and put it on our site and see what that does from a referral standpoint, from a conversion standpoint. And every day we're adding new capabilities into the platform for new content optimization efforts, monitoring efforts, and how to deliver content directly to AI agents as opposed to humans. That's all part of the Scrunch platform, which obviously we'd love to walk you through in detail. So true to my word, we've got a QR code which looks super fuzzy, so maybe it works. But there's a QR code over on our booth if you want a demo of the platform. If you would like to get a report on how your company is showing up in AI search, come speak with us. And if that works, you can book a meeting there as well. But that's the shift. Ultimately, I built the company because I saw my personal behavior changing. I think this is a wave that is larger than the social wave. I think all of marketing is changing. If I could leave you with one theme to think about, it would be we've spent the last couple of decades building our perfect marketing technology stack, right? You've glued together all these different vendors like ourselves to have a good understanding of the customer journey. I think we're moving from an optimized MarTech stack to just focusing on marketing to technology. Technology is now the browser. Technology is now the buyer. But there's a very real human that is sending technology to do the task. And I think we need to drop our frustration that that's where the world is going, because we as consumers are defaulting to it. It is easier to ask AI to synthesize the information, and therefore you as a marketer are marketing to technology that is retrieving on behalf of a human, and that's the shift that we're starting to think about as we build out the AI-first customer experience platform. We have 10 minutes. I'd love to take a couple questions if there's anybody in the room that's got pressing thoughts, concerns. If not, we can go to lunch early, but we got one hand in the back.
Hi, this has been fabulous, so thank you for enlightening all of us. When I think about, investing in the future of content, so videos, all of the expensive investments that we make and all of these big creative assets, do you think that that's going to change? Because it'll just be easier if we use copy rather than video, for example? And what do those investments, how should those change?
Yeah, good question. So I think the shift is that YouTube sources are actually getting pretty heavily prioritized. It's an authoritative domain. The model's looking at kind of the title, description, the summary of the video as it's trying to retrieve information. We are seeing some companies take a transcript or summary of the video and make that available to the model. So the model's landing on a website with a video that's clearly designed for a human to consume, but then the transcript or the summary of the video is accessible to the model. So the model can incorporate that into an answer. And there's a couple different ways you can do that technically. You could put that directly on the page itself and have a summary of what the video is, or you could actually serve a different version of the page to an AI agent. So that's part of our platform where as visitors come into the website, if it's human, they get the normal website. If it's one of these 10 AI agents, they actually get a text-based optimized version of the page that matches the intent of the page. So I'm encouraging, don't change your current existing website strategy. You're making videos for a reason. They're engaging for humans. But think about the intent of the video and make sure that content is available to the model in the title, the description, the snippet, the summary, and potentially as a transcript, because these models are super sophisticated. They will consume the video in the future. But what are they trying to do is they're trying to get to the intent of the video. The faster and easier you make it for the model to get that information, the more likely your brand's going to be incorporated. So it's a bit of an answer of do both. Do not alienate your current strategy. Do not get rid of your website. Do not stop your SEO efforts, but start to think about who is consuming the content and what's the intent of the page. Yeah, next question. Anybody else? Yep, 2 more.
Hi, what are your thoughts on when your IT, your web developers are telling you they're trying to force these bots to only search on off hours because it's causing an issue for the website itself? So what's your response, and what do you advise us to go back to tell them?
Interesting. That's, I've not heard that one before. I think, the idea that like the bots are seasonal or the bots have like hours is just kind of funny to think through. Like, you know, I've thought about like, you know, you can jokingly be to brands like, are you concerned that AI agents are not drinking wine and buying food? Like, if this is the new workforce, they're spending a lot less money as they do their jobs. But I don't think you can control the timing of when agents have access to your information. Because if you just walk your IT team through the workflow, I ask a question on ChatGPT, ChatGPT goes to retrieve content. If it can't get your content in that moment, it's going to get the content from somewhere. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but the models basically always give some answer. It might not be the answer you're happy with, and maybe that's because your website has hours, like office hours. So I would definitely say, I would be playful about it. First of all, I think humor is an important thing in life. I would be playful that these bots are not hourly based, and they are working directly on behalf of humans. Now, bot traffic on the web can be a challenge. Like, you have nefarious bots that have nothing to do with large language models that are just causing chaos on sites. You need to block those. You need to protect your website from a performance and a cost perspective. But it's also why I would say, look, these 10 AI agents are getting us customers. Do not block these ones. So I would work with a platform like us or work with your IT team to scope what they have access to. Yeah. Good. You can go, or there's a question there, yeah.
I'll hand it over in a second.
Sure.
Derek Schoen, MGM Resorts. I think when we talk to Google around our SEO efforts,
Yep.
really the only thing they've said is like, make sure that you're conversationally forward in your content as
Yep.
like a tweak. But other than that, it's stay the course on the SEO side for all the AEO, et cetera. Are you all seeing anything different outside of the company line that we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with making sure the content's accessible, right? Don't block it. Conversational is a great tip because these models work the way we do as humans. They're conversational, right? We're asking questions, they're trying to match the pros. I would say beyond that, you've probably got a lot of web pages that are not optimized for AI retrieval. The website is a video, and it's the model's like, well, there's nothing here for me. So what needs to be on that page? It could be more conversational, so I think that's a safe party line. There's quite a bit more you could do beyond that. Another very basic tip is like title, description, and snippet for pages is more important than ever. It's a standard SEO best practice, but it's better than ever because imagine being an AI model trying to answer a question in real time. It starts with the site index. It's like, okay, here are the 5 websites. Here's the title, description, snippet. Do I want to visit the website? So if that information is not timely or accurate, that's not going to prioritize it. Other things, the AI models really like fresh content. They don't want to find content from 2 years ago to answer a new question. Basic tips like refreshing your website content frequently, quarterly, maybe even monthly, I'm seeing it improve the results in AI search. So there's a long list of things we do in the platform, but the party line from Google is a safe one, and your SEO best practices are still very, very strong in this world. Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris, this is so timely. So I'm a CMO and embarking on a web redesign, right?
Yeah.
And we're designing essentially for 2 audiences.
Yeah.
You know, because we have traditional SEO, and our customers tend to skew a little older and probably Google search, but also for AI. But as we're looking at KPIs, and I'm kind of curious, as we look at our web metrics and engagement, my web lead is actually pulling out. We're not blocking. But actually extracting the bots. And I feel like we should be using those to our advantage, but I'm curious thoughts on KPIs around this, or is it so new?
Yeah, what do you mean by extracting the bots?
Like actually taking those out as website visits.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But if, in fact, what you're saying, I feel like we should be counting those, but I don't know if it's not necessarily apples to apples.
No, it's not apples to apples, but I would count it twofold. I would track it and report on it separately, like we are actually. Like, here's Scrunch's human visitors, and here's Scrunch's AI visitors. And I watched as it, like, AI visitors just surpassed it. And I don't think that's going to be true for most brands in the room yet.
Yeah.
So I would track both and just monitor it. The other really important thing I'd track would be referral visits from AI search.
Okay.
So when your event gets mentioned in the GPT search, hopefully there's a link back to your website.
Yeah.
When a human clicks on that link, there's a UTM code which says this was referred by ChatGPT. So I would track those three things, and then I would try to track the conversion funnel on the website of, okay, ChatGPT visitor landed on the lead form to sign up to participate in the conference, and they just signed up. That visitor used to click on 7 things on the website and then leave. Oh, whoa, they got educated in GPT before they came. The reason they one-clicked and signed up was because they had a buyer journey I couldn't see yet in the model. So I would segment out the 3 different groups.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Thanks.
for sure.
I think
One more question.
Hi, I'm in PR, and we've been doing a lot of looking at, how are they sourcing their information, and media tends to come up pretty high because it's neutral, it's authoritative. But these ChatGPT and whatnot, they don't have paid advertising right now.
Right.
So I guess, do you foresee how they change what content is weighted more heavily over time?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's changing all the time. New model comes out, it shifts. I think these models do not want to appear biased. Like, they are trying to earn human trust. And so I think I saw a stat, like the average user is spending like 25 minutes a day in ChatGPT. That's crazy. That's a really high number for a tool that you're just chatting with. And that number just keeps ticking up. Part of that is because they haven't blasted it with ads. We're just like, oh, we can kind of trust this thing. And so PR becomes really important because it wants to look at third-party websites to answer the question. It's like, oh, the brand said it. There's a press release about it. There's a Reddit page about it. There's a blog post about it. That reinforces the message. But in our platform, we track the weight of all those citations. We're like, okay, for the topics you care about, do you show up? Is it positive? Do your competitors show up? And what are the literal websites that the model's using at what frequency? And how is that changing over time? And give you all that data to adjust your content strategy accordingly. So I think that's a big part of the shift that I'd be paying attention to. But PR is definitely having a resurgence. Syndication of content is having a resurgence. So it's an exciting time to track it all. So,
Sorry, I know we said one more,
Yeah,
but we do have the official one more
Okay, let's do it.
Awesome, thank you. Jen Edwards. I actually have 2 quick questions.
Sure.
How will this impact things like drift that may be on your website?
Yep.
And then, do LLMs have a CMS preference, like from a credibility perspective?
Yeah. Can you say a little bit more about the drift question?
So I'm just curious, is it going to change behavior when people come to your site and engage with your chat bots?
Got it. Yeah. I think it will, for sure. I think there's an open question on chatbots on websites. Does the ChatGPT agent want to chat with another chatbot? Or does it just want a repository of content to answer the question? Does it just want the checkout link to purchase the product? I think we'll get more and more efficient. I think the first thing everybody did in AI was like, put a chatbot on your website. And it's like, it's frustrating for consumers. Does the GPT agent actually get what it needs from the chatbot? Like, those are all open questions still in my mind. I think I'm not seeing a preference from a CMS perspective. So whether you're on Adobe or HubSpot or any one of these large players, it's really just about what the content is, the conversational nature, the accessibility of it. So I don't think there's one CMS that's preferred over another. We could talk about how we are optimizing delivery to an AI agent separately from the CMS, so just like getting the content to the model directly as it retrieves it. There's some things we're doing there which are of interest. But I think the other thing to keep an eye on is GPT announced a bunch in shopping yesterday. So they're not paying for ads yet, charging for ads, but they are taking 4% of transactions that happen in ChatGPT. So if you embed your purchase in GPT via Shopify or Etsy, OpenAI is taking their cut along with Shopify or Etsy or the Stripe transaction. And so maybe that's where we move, is a little bit more transactional based, but it's all unfolding quickly. We don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. We're just trying to be the partner that navigates this shift with you. So appreciate the time. We've got a booth. Come talk to me. Would love to connect. Thanks.